Hello. Oh my goodness. My dear friends, today I would like to read you some things from my journal. These are older things. Well, first we light candles because it's a bit dark. So we can see a bit better. And maybe put my phone on Do Not Disturb. Alright. The reason that I wish to share these things with you today is writing as a transformative act. When I began to write more regularly, there was this, or when I began to, allow myself more freedom in my creation, there was this explosion of writing that happened last fall. Specifically when I started writing with pen instead of pencil, and I could read about that as well. But for now, I will read to you what I see as my own definition of writing as a transformative act. Sometimes I feel as if I could write like it's the only thing I was ever meant to do. A never-ending flow of word engulfs my head. It's inescapable. It feels a destiny, words left on my lips, an echo of something. There's something more, something deeper. The words pound in my head behind every blink, every inhale, every movement. It beats in me. The taste on my lips, perhaps the echoes of the person I swallowed every time I swallow my tongue. The collection of all of the pieces of myself I've swallowed for others over the years. Her screams stain my lips. Every time I swallow my tongue, I swallow a piece of myself. Those pieces, screaming and clinging to my lips as they go, dragging their nails down my throat as I swallow them dry. An itch I can never scratch. Then they go to my gut, where they arrive to all the other bits I've swallowed over the years. They exchange stories of how I've wronged them, how I could have done better. They chatter and stir and dance in agreement and understanding. A mutual connection over my pitfalls. A shared bond through suffering on my behalf. They are happy to know others who've been suppressed as they have and join hands in unity. They spin and twist and dive and twirl, but never let go of each other. The movement speeds up, and suddenly it's one mass, a conglomeration of indiscernible shapes and colors and energy. So much energy. It scares me. I feel it pace the cavern of my cadaver, run up and down the walls of its cage until it falls back on itself and the process begins again. Like smoke trapped in a glass, crawling up the walls until it realizes it had nowhere to go and folds back on itself. Then it sinks to the floor in defeat. But I fear what is inside will not be so easily defeated. Every day I feel it grow more restless, waiting for the day I finally let it free. She's swollen to the walls of her confinement, anxious for the day she will be set free. She swallows me, consumes me, distracts me, and envelops everything else left inside my shell. She is the pit that drops, the acid that crawls, the weight that pulls me from everything. The weight that pulls me from everything. She is the weight that pulls me from everything. She is the hand that squeezes my rib cage tight around my lungs, the yanking on my back and the tug on my hips. I can feel her weighing me down. I need to let her out. But how? How do I free the beast? Take a steak knife from nape to navel? Carve a big enough hole for her to crawl out of? No. She doesn't deserve her freedom, bloody and screaming and grasping from flesh for air. But perhaps she wants it that way? I cannot purge her like a meal or dislodge her like a thorn. I do not know how to birth her. I am 20. Why is my body plagued by these feelings, these words, these destinies? How can I be free? Free her. Well, how do I free her? How do I free her? Will I ever know? I'm sure I'll figure it out soon. Either that or she will free herself and tell me. The cage won't hold for much longer. Her heart beats with the thought of her freedom. She is running out of oxygen and will not stand to be extinguished. I swallow my wrath. I swallow my lust and my pride and my envy. I swallow my gluttony and greed. Sins simmer in my stomach. No wonder the acid is so sour. Someday soon I will find my way to something that will melt the walls of the cage, or at least something that will temporarily hand me the key. My flame will gladly dance then, as I let her do so little. My flame is dancing now. Upon reading this, I wrote this in October, and it is now March. I freed her, and the key to freeing her from that enclosure was indeed creation and sharing my art with others, sharing these words with others, sharing my creation with others. I had been holding it inside of me for so long, and it had been building and building and building and building, and this was the beginning of the explosion. I let my flame dance freely. I dance freely now. When no one's watching and when people are watching. I read my words out loud to others without fear of judgment, or I try not to let the fear of judgment hold me back. And upon sharing my art and my creation with others, which is in part why I'm doing this, I realized how important it is to not hold things inside, and how sharing something can make it that much more special. There's something that just, I don't know, if you hold it in for too long, you're gonna explode. Shall I read more? I was dealing with a lot of contradictions at this time and did not know how best to handle them. So this was how I learned to handle them. And at this time I was reading Robin Wall Kimmerer and Sean Wilson, as well as I just finished reading Gloria Anzaldúa. So there were a lot of artist inspirations, writers just swirling around in my brain, and I find that when I'm consuming a lot and can't create in the face of that, to be able to process the things that I am consuming, that also leads to a pretty unbearable buildup over time that I'm just unable to allow anymore. And I've learned to recognize that feeling now. I have a very deep tie to my intuition, and, well, most of the time, I have a very deep tie to my intuition, and in that way, during this time, I recognized within myself that there was a feeling like something was constantly off, something wasn't right, deep in my gut, and learning to listen to my gut and free my gut. There was a wall almost holding the things I was saying in, and I was afraid to speak my truth. That wall was part of what held all of this anxiety in my stomach. I was afraid of saying the things that my gut wanted me to say. And that is who I should trust, after all. She is my soul. So I speak from the soul, I speak from the heart, and I speak in almost complete honesty as much as I can. If you need a book to read, there's, the book Emergent Strategy by Adrienne Marie Brown. In that book, she has a section titled Liberated Relationships that I think connects a lot to what I'm saying. Excuse me. There is a cat meowing, so I will be right back. Okay. Sorry about that. I actually went and grabbed the book. Let me find the page that I am looking for. Liberated Relationships. There's so much wisdom in this book. It has truly been a guiding factor for me. And also in Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerer, and Research's Ceremony by Sean Wilson. Though I think I will make another video about books that I love that have changed my life. But for this specific one, I want to read, here, where is it? We learn to lie, either with overt mistruths or egregious omissions, at a very intimate level, not to ask for what we need, not to say out loud what we want, not to be honest when things hurt or bother us. Reasons we swallow our truths, which is what I was speaking to. Capitalism, oppression of supremacy, oppression of false peace. Anyways, there's much more in this book that I will share with you all at another point, but I do really recommend it. Very grateful to Bella for recommending it to me. Sharing is caring, is it not? All right. I'm going to continue on. I'm nothing if not an amalgamation of everyone and everything that came before me. I wake up and look in the mirror. My mother stares back at me. Strong Colombian coffee swirls in my mug. La Bruja chatters in my gut. A mess of curls, eyes bright with an intrigue in a world outside of her own. Words in a language I've long since forgotten cascade through the grooves of my brain, tugging at any strings they could find. Mi cabeza convierte a español casi mitad del tiempo. Voces españoles ruidan tan grandes, tan importantes. Debo escucharlos, ¿no? Quiero escucharlos. Quiero hablar y conversar y bailar con ellos. Los voces que me cuidan, los voces que me criaron. Todo lo que soy es de ellos. Los voces en el fondo de mis pensamientos. Los voces que me dictaron todo. I look in my mother's eyes, the ones that stare back at me in the mirror. I blink, then nod, then turn on my heel and leave. Later that day, now that I've started, I fear I can't stop. I freed the beast, the writer in me. I let her words pour from this pen, let her illustrate every thought. Her words consume me, every action sparks a new sentence. Something tugs me back to pen and paper. I'm addicted. I'm addicted to the flow, the way the words tumble out of my pen as soon as the tip touches the page. There's a never-ending stream, one I'm not sure I want to cap. When I look at my mother in the mirror, I see her childhood pearl hanging from the chain on her neck. I touch my chest and roll the pearl between my fingertips. I try to remember what it felt like to be in Hawaii in 1980, plucking this pearl from her bed of flesh. Just a child. I bring the pearl to my teeth, tap the smooth surface with my canines. She taunts me as I hold her in my mouth. If I bite down, she will turn to dust, another priceless gem swallowed and sacrificed to La Bruja. Somehow the dust in my gut seems to harden, as a new pearl forms from the acid of sin. This time, the pearl is heavier, denser, stronger, more lustrous. La Bruja spots her and dons her, as did I and my mother before me. The pearl glistens around her neck. La Bruja writhes and cackles in pleasure. What a treasure to beget. She grasps it tightly, as if the pearl were a child of her own creation. The mirror begins to beckon her, and in an upward glance, she faces the figure that yells for her attention. A pink-faced girl, fiery orange curls falling from her scalp. Blue irises almost completely hidden behind the dilated pupils of love. Come on, Olivia. Just get up. Go do your tasks. No. What if all I want to do all day is sit outside and write? What if I can't get up? What if I can't do anything until the words can finally rest on paper, tucked into the folds of the bed I call a journal? What if I can't do what needs to be done? I have words, if nothing else. They taunt me and pull at me and climb on me until I give in and let them free. Oh, to be beauty, oh, to be pain, oh, to be human. Everything flows differently than it used to. The earth sings in a different way. The tendrils in my head reach farther than they used to, a constant search for knowledge I didn't know I wanted. My eyes scan more than before, picking out every dewdrop, every leaf, every light, every movement. There was more in front of me than I ever imagined possible. My ears can pick out a chatter of sparrows, or the sound of gravity taking another autumnal leaf from its summer home, the way it crunches slightly as it lands on the ferns and foliage below, the click of a grasshopper flying, or the far-off buzz of traffic. My nose can sense the rain, can sense a change in forest composition by smell, the way sap smells when it grabs pine needles and fabric, the way she smells when we're home. Something has been extended. I've been given a third arm at no request. My arms tangle with their new addition, frustrated at a wrench in the 2-decade-old system. That is, until my new hand touches something, and suddenly everything expands. With my new hand, I can feel the wind before she arrives, feel the tension on your brow or the piercing reciprocal stare of an animal. I can feel the soil warm under my weight, feel a hair grow millimeter by millimeter, day by day. I've been given something, a gift, one I surely did not ask for but must graciously receive. I must figure out the purpose of this gift, find the one who chose it for me in the first place. I will be grateful, of course, and reciprocate once I figure out how. How can I thank the universe for a third eye, for a sixth sense, for an extra limb? What can I give the earth that she doesn't already have? A future? Must I care for her more than others do? Extend my hand to a drowning being? Must I water her with my tears and feed her on my flesh? Must I loan her every breath so that her lungs still have enough oxygen to fill? Must I offer her my being, my whole body and soul, material and spiritual, until I am nothing but a pile under a tree? How do I give thanks to something that has given me everything? How do I give thanks to something that has given me everything? The sixth sense, my deep-rooted artistic intuition, I guess, could also be, as I referred to earlier, La Bruja. La Bruja, the witch, is what I call, or what I called, the indiscernible energy that I was feeling in my gut at the time. It had become so inflated and filling that she needed a name of her own. And because of the repression, I felt as though she was controlling me, and she had like a mind of her own, essentially. There's so much in this journal. I suppose I will share with you all eventually. But in returning to what I said at the beginning, this transition started when I began to write in pen. You can hear the door, maybe. Sorry if you can. This all, yeah. To wrap up what I'm saying, this has been a long one, and I apologize. Though I don't apologize, because these are things that I wanted to share. If anyone watches this, if no one watches this, that's all right with me. This is towards the end of this journal, which I finished only a few short months after I had my writing explosion, thanks to La Bruja. In reflection upon everything that I wrote in this journal, I'm going to read this excerpt to you. I worked with my hands until my brain caught on. I fried my brain until my hands were the only thing left. Rinse and repeat. My crafts saved me. I used a pencil out of insecurity and uncertainty. Now I use a pen because I am no longer scared of the concrete. I am no longer hiding who I am. With a pen, you see the mistakes as they happen, see the change as soon as it starts. Writing with a pencil takes away the beauty of process, of progress, of discovery and self. Writing with a pen reveals all, like peeling back your skin and muscle to see all the bones and organs inside. Writing in pen demands a certain pride for one's work, for one's self. I no longer have to hide behind pencil and eraser. Now I can write who I am and mean it. With my pen as my identity, I am no longer afraid to hide. With that, I thank you for being here today and for listening to the things that I have to share. I hope that you can take some of these things and either maybe my words aided in your own transformation, or you'll begin your own journey towards discovering your true self and getting in touch with your gut and who you really are through whatever artistic venture or creative venture you love. At this time in my life, it was writing, but I've had times where it was singing, where it is dancing or drawing or sewing. Painting. Don't box yourself in, just let yourself be free. Free yourself. Take ownership over your own truth. There's no reason to stifle it, even if that's what society tells us to do. Because it is not productive in the way that it will not make us money, but still. You cannot see this beautiful candle, but she's here. This crappy computer camera. Light some candles, have a cup of tea, and sit with your thoughts. That is all for today, my dear friends. I will see you next time. Farewell.